So it's Tuesday morning and you have to write an email to a 6-figure account. So you open up Claude AI, you paste in the customer's note and ask for a draft. Output comes back in a few seconds. It's technically fine, but it's generically dead. So you delete it, you open up a Google Doc, and you decide to write it yourself. You've watched 5 Claude tutorials, you took notes, you still couldn't ship that email. The tutorials aren't broken. They were never built for the work you actually do. I've spent 20 years inside Fortune 500 marketing and driven 9 figures of pipeline on an annual basis. And I promptly Claude the way every tutorial showed me and got nowhere until I figured out what the tutorials were not telling me. Here are 4 things every Claude tutorial skips. Senior marketers like you pay the price for them every week. I'm going to walk you through all 4. Here's the move. Tomorrow morning, before you open up Claude AI, write 5 lines. Who the output is for, what they need, the business reason, the constraints, and the success measures. That's it. 5 lines. Don't open Claude until they're written. That's not a prompt, that's a brief. And the brief is the seat the prompt actually sits in. Every senior marketer watching this already writes briefs for agencies and creative teams. You're going to write the same kind for Claude, and your output changes immensely the first time you do it. Hold that move because we're coming back to it. Okay, before I get into the 4 mistakes, you need to know I learned them the hard way. I was running marketing for the most strategically important accounts in our entire business. So from a content standpoint, every email, every banner, every landing page was custom built for all our contacts. It was based on their role, those intent signals coming through our platform. The math didn't work. True production for personalization at this scale ran about 200 hours, roughly about 6 weeks of work. And these for accounts we couldn't even confirm actually wanted to do business with us. So I tried prompting Claude AI the way every tutorial showed, got an okay output, brand review flagged the voice, legal flagged some of the claims, and sales said it didn't match what they were actually working on. So a few days of refinement and the output still wasn't quite there. Then I figured out what the tutorials were not telling me. The breakthrough wasn't the prompts, it was the actual brief. 25 hours instead of 200. The same depth, the same personalization, and sales actually used the output. Brand approved it on the first round, legal finally cleared it, and the account we had been chasing for months opened up the email and replied in a few days. That's the version that survives a Fortune 50 review, not the tutorial version. And here's what I see across the senior marketing operators I talk to. They're quietly avoiding using Claude AI, not because they can't figure it out, but because they don't want to admit they actually need to. They sat through 3 meetings this quarter where someone 2 levels down showed off a workflow. They smiled and nodded. They went back to the office and didn't even open up. Not because they couldn't, but because the tutorial would have closed the gap that was meant for the person doing the demo and not the person in the actual marketing seat. And that's where most of you watching this video are. And you should know it's not a skill gap, it's a coverage gap. The tutorials don't exist for you because nobody who's in your seat has been writing them. Here's what I want you to picture. It's the Thursday morning. Let's say it's your quarterly business review. Your CMO is presenting. She gets to the AI slide. She doesn't show a tool. She doesn't show a demo. She shows your name. She says, this is the operator who figured out how we should actually use Claude AI here. She pulls up the brief template your team is now using on every single campaign. She mentions that 2 of the territories adopted it last month and pipeline velocity is up double digits. You sit there, don't say anything because you don't need to. Your team is fluent. Your output goes through legal without any flags, and your campaign manager copies your brief format on every single project. The board even asks who's leading AI capabilities. She says, your name. That's the seat you're sitting in by Q4. And it starts with knowing the 4 things every tutorial skips. So let's get into them. Mistake number 1 is the brief. Tutorials teach you to prompt. Real work starts with a brief. A prompt is a question. A brief is a project document. Every marketing leader watching this has briefed agencies, briefed creative teams, and briefed event production. You already know how to write a brief. A Claude AI brief is the same thing, shrunk down to just 5 lines. Who the output is for, what they need, the business reasons, the constraints, and the success measure. That's it. Write that in the chat window before you ask Claude for anything. Your output changes the first time you do it. And here's the test. If your prompt fits one line, you're prompting. If it takes a paragraph that names a stakeholder, a goal, and a constraint, you're briefing. So that's mistake one. The tutorial skipped the brief because the people making the tutorials don't write briefs in their day jobs. You do, and now you can. Okay, mistake number two, the live context. Tutorials show you how to load a PDF. That's not the context you need. The context you need is what's already moving through your stack right now. That's like your last quarter's pipeline data, the accounts your intent platform flagged this week, your last 3 winning emails, your team's voice samples from the last brand audit, the definitions your sales team locked in March. Tutorials skip this because they don't have a stack. They have a demo environment. The demo environment doesn't have your engagement data, and your engagement data is the only thing that makes Claude AI sound like your brand. The move before you brief Claude on anything is to ask yourself what data already exists about the problem you're trying to solve. Then load that data, not just a generic example. And that's mistake number two, live context, not just loaded PDFs. The data that's moving through your business right now, that's what you need to load. Mistake number three is the review chain. And this is the one. Mistake three is the one most marketers skip even after they hear it. It's the one that costs you the most. Tutorials end at, hey, look what Claude AI made. Your work doesn't end there. Your work has to survive at least 3 reviews: legal, brand, and your marketing leadership. The output Claude AI gives you off a great brief is only draft number 1. Draft 1 isn't the version that actually ships. Here's the move. When you brief Claude AI, name the reviewers. Tell Claude legal will have to check it. Tell Claude brand will have to check it. Tell Claude your marketing leadership team will have to check it. And ask Claude to flag the lines those reviewers will have to challenge. When you do that, Claude starts producing output that anticipates the review chain. And the first draft Claude returns isn't demo ready. It's almost shippable after only 1 round of review. And that's the difference between an output that wastes your Tuesday and an output that goes out by Friday. And the reason most marketers skip this even after they hear it is because the demo culture trained them. Demo culture says, look what I made in 15 minutes. However, production culture says, what survives to people who don't trust you yet? So build the chain, not the demo. And remember the brief move I told you about at the start? This is why it works, because the brief is where you tell Claude who's reviewing. That's how Claude learns to think like your marketing leadership before you do. And now you can give it hands to work like legal and brand without rewriting it twice. Okay, here's mistake number 4, the number test. Okay, this is the last one. Tutorials optimize for the wow factor. You're measured in pipeline or revenue or cost or conversion rate or cost for customer acquisition. Whatever the numbers on your scorecard is, that's the only thing that matters. Every Claude move you make has to defend itself against those numbers. And if you can't draw a line from the move to the number, the move is only hobby work, and you don't have time for hobby work. I know this sounds obvious, but some senior marketers ignore it because the tutorials don't train to ask this question. The tutorials train to ask, did this look cool? And that's not the question. The question is, does it move pipeline? If yes, keep it, scale it, train your team on it. If no, kill it, move on, and there's another move. That's the numbers test. That's mistake number 4. Every Claude move has to earn its place on your time, and now you can defend every Claude move you make in a budget meeting. No more the AI made it. Yes, it moves pipeline, and here's how by how much. And let me be honest about one thing. Claude AI still doesn't make all your output good. There's still drafts that I throw away. There's still days the brief is wrong and the output lacked because of it. The framework does eliminate that. What it does is shrink the gap between the first draft and the deployable version from days to hours. If anything I've said so far made you go, yeah, that's exactly what's been happening to me, subscribe. I'm putting out one of these every week or so for senior corporate marketing operators. And this is the audience nobody else on YouTube is talking to. So back to work. I want to name what's actually happening in your career right now. You're a senior marketer. You've been doing this for a few years. You know what good marketing looks like. You've shipped campaigns into 6-7-figure budgets. You've sat in rooms with sales leaders, with vendors, with marketing leadership, with boards probably, and you've earned your seat. And then this pesky AI showed up. And suddenly the tutorials you're watching are made by people half your age who've never had to be responsible for a performance number. And the demos look impressive, and you're starting to wonder, is your seat going to get smaller? Well, it doesn't. The market is going to spend the next 2 years figuring out which marketing operators are still useful in an AI-saturated world. The answer is going to be the ones who can apply marketing to AI, not the ones who learn AI from scratch. You don't need to learn AI. You need to apply marketing to AI. That's the move. That's the seat that gets stronger when AI shows up, not weaker. The senior operator team comes to for real answers on Claude AI, because everyone knows the tutorials weren't built for the work that you actually do. So when there's a real question, a stakeholder question, a brand question, a senior leadership question, they all come to you, not to YouTube. And that's the version of you on the other side of these 4 mistakes. And that is in theory. I've been through those battles myself, without a single direct report in organization. No authority, just a better data than anyone else in the room. Claude AI is the same move. Claude doesn't give you authority, it gives you better data than anyone else in that room. And that's the same move you've already proven that you can make. Okay, here's some numbers. And here's what's happening in the market right now. Claude AI pulled 837 million visits in April, and that's up 16% in a single month. AI referrals to retail sales sites are up nearly 700% year over year. The shift isn't coming, it's already happened. And the senior marketers I see thriving in it are not the ones looking at all the tutorials on YouTube. They're the ones just writing better briefs, better documents. Here's what's actually happening right now. Every Tuesday morning, you open up Claude AI, get generic output, sigh and delete it, and rewrite it yourself. Meanwhile, there's an analyst in your team doing the exact same thing, except they're not deleting it. They're deploying it and learning from the feedback and getting better at briefing Claude every single day. And by month 3, your marketing leadership is asking them what they're doing differently, not you, them. And once that trust shifts, once the answer to who runs AI here stops being your name, it's going to be real hard to get that back. And meanwhile, the people building paid courses and email programs for Claude AI for marketers are spinning up. I counted 8 of them on a research call this week. None of them are on YouTube yet. They will be in probably 3 to 6 weeks. But whoever plants the flag first owns that audience. You don't have to be that person on YouTube, but you do have to be that person at your company. And the brief is where it starts, not a prompt. This week, not next quarter. I want to know something. What was the moment you realized Claude AI tutorials weren't written for the work you actually do? Drop it in the comments, the specific moment, 1 sentence. I'm gonna read all of them. Okay, last thing. We just covered the 4 things the tutorial skipped. The biggest one for most people was number 2 in the live context layer. Your output sounds generic because Claude AI doesn't have your brand voice, your buyers, your last quarter wins loaded. And there's a specific 8-file setup that fixes that. One of them locks in your brand voice, another loads your buyer archetypes. And without these 2, every Claude session stays generic. I broke them all down in the video. So find that, click it, see how that session is different. Don't sit on that.